All right, most of you guys know this. This is for the beginners that don't know it. Now, what you see in the frame there, let's see what it's. All right, you see two pair of pliers, and you see two 9-volt batteries. Now, the 9-volt batteries came out of a smoke detector. And in my last video, I was telling you, if you look real carefully, you can see there's some writing on the side of this battery. It came out of a smoke detector. I just checked yesterday. I changed them in the spring, the batteries in my smoke detector, and they have dates on them. 5/25. All right. So you take the smoke detector batteries out, and you can still use them in the radio. You can still squeak out some hours out of them. The other thing you can do is you can get this connector off. Comes off very easily. Hopefully under camera it comes off easily. The top, the metal, and my fingernails sort of long. It's getting long, but anyway, that's for the people that do my fingernail watch. They're getting long. Yeah, they grow real fast. So do my toenails. So anyway, this top is rolled over on the card. It's sort of like cardboard, but in other words, you just come in here and you sort of move it back real quick. I'm doing this on camera. You can do this really neatly, and you roll this back. You can also use a screwdriver, and at some point you can get under here. Too soon. Too soon. Hopefully this is in the frame. I'll do a video and then I'll go check it. And I'll find out the part wasn't in the frame. And I'm doing this pretty crappy because I'm standing over it. But notice this comes up. See, this one's being a turd. Sometimes these just, they just jump out. Wow, this one's really in there. Because once you see this done once, you realize how simple it is to do. Wow, this one really, no way. See, this is the problem with doing stuff on camera, is the turd factor. You should use a pair of nose for this, but yeah, this one just doesn't want to let go. It's like when you take something apart that's glued, sometimes it just pops apart. Maybe they changed the way these are made. Anyway, and you just cut. Yeah, this should have come apart a lot easier. I think that they might have changed how they're making them now. Yeah, there's something definitely changed. But after you clean the cardboard off, you'll see there's two what would you call them, rivets on the back, and you clean them up, and then I'm leaning over a camera, but they will take solder really nicely, and you have yourself a connector. Besides the fact that you could then use this connector in a project with that battery that's left over. It's obvious it'll work, right? When I was a kid, I put two batteries back to back like that, and they get red hot. Anyway, that's it. It's real simple. This should come out a lot nicer if I was sitting down, taking my time. And these are energizers. Some of the other batteries that are junk, and they should here's a Duraleak. Let's do a Duraleak. Hopefully I was in the frame the the whole time. Let's do a Duraleak. Yeah, this thing's it falls. This one's falling apart. These pliers I got free with a solder station. These yeah, diagonal pliers, and you could call them cutters. Yeah, this thing's bending real quick. I think the problem is my position of hanging over the camera and the fact that I don't have glasses on. Now let's see if this one just comes out. Normally they used to just come right off. You'd go like this, and you come down, and yeah, he must have added in some glue over the years. That popped out easily. I think that was the side we had trouble with, right? On the last one. Yeah, they definitely changed stuff. All right. What I really need is regular nose pliers. Get some real energy in there. Wow. Yeah, they were never this bad. So I have so many of these in a tray somewhere that I don't need to take any more apart. But yeah, this one's built exactly the same as the other one. See these pieces of wire in there, they used to be much longer, and this would come out, and then and think about it, all batteries are probably made in China by the same company, so they come up with a way of making it. Oh yeah, this is definitely different. But anyway, you'll figure it out. They were never this tough. That's so funny. Oh yeah, this is the same. This is a different company, but it's made the same way. But in other words, you take your time, you get it apart, and then you can use this connector. And it does take solder. Hopefully they still take solder on the back. But I just wanted to show you that. I saw it in a magazine many years ago. And then I had a bunch of smoke detector batteries, and they came right apart. And then 6 months later, they came right apart. And I took a tray. You know, I have parts trays, like over there. Let's see. In the background, can you see there? There they are. See my parts bins? They're all labeled. I just every 6 months I take the batteries apart and take the little insulator and with the two rivets and the connectors, and then I actually would solder 2 wires to them, and then put them away for when I need to use them. And I use this type of wire a lot. This is station wire. It's got different colors on it. Like this is red black, and it's a bundle, and the wires they fit the proto board perfectly. Station wire is called, and catch something in Home Depot. When you cut it and strip it back, you'll have 4 wires in the ones from Lowe's. And the wire, when you take the wire out of the bundle or out of the sleeve, you can strip it, and it fits the wireless proto board perfectly. And but I bought this giant cable. I think it had 100 connectors in it. I bought 3-foot length, cut it open, and then you got bundles in there. Each they're twisted pairs, two of each color, and there's multiple colors of the rainbow in them. And that's what I use for when I do the proto boarding. It's wireless proto boarding, right? Wireless proto board sounds about right. Originally, it was made by Continental Specialties when it first started. I don't know who makes this. Okay, they call it solderless breadboard socket. Here's a company name on the back of it. But Continental Specialties. And I told you, when I was out of work, the government was going to pay me to go back to school. And I went around looking for a school, and I found this school, and they kept telling me how much better they were than Rets. And then the guy says, let me show you what our smartest student built. And we walk over, and he's showing me a digital clock. And it was my digital clock. I sold the kid in Radio Shack. And I was really upset, and I was kind of mouthing off to the guy, yeah, you're telling me your school's better than Rets, and your best student, meanwhile, that's a Rets student's uh, clock. And there were Numitrons from RCA that I worked on in the clock. My dad made a bracket for it. They really bit. And then a guy coming by heard me voicing off. And he walked in, and he was an instructor, and he knew me from the Radio Shack. And he goes, I knew that clock looked familiar. I said, remember, you came in and I tried to sell it to you? He goes, yeah. I said, all this crap in my cellar, I started selling it over the counter at Radio Shack. And that's how I got rid of a whole bunch of stuff. You know, I had walkie-talkies I repaired, and people would come in and like, I don't know, $20 for a walkie. Come on out here. Come out. I kept my car in the fire zone. And come on out here. I'll talk to you. I opened my trunk of my car up. And they go, what kind of walkie-talkie? I said, do you think this is really a good one? Works on a 9-volt battery, alkaline. Well, anyway, yeah. I had all this stuff repaired, and I was selling it over the counter when things got slow at Radio Shack. But my digital clock, I sold it when I was in RCA. Well, first, Jack Pleska in Pennsylvania, he worked for Weston Meter, and they made a atomic sensor for rolling metal. They would roll metal in a factory, a steel company, and then there was a sensor underneath, and it would tell the machine the thickness of the metal that was being rolled, and it uses some type of radioactivity to go through the metal. And then Pleska he took a Trojan box, and he loaded it up with black snow, which is that it's like styrofoam, but it's black. It's conductive. And he put a bunch of ICs in there, and he sent them to me, and I started building the clock. And I had the schematic from RCA, and then this guy Pianco, he worked in the other side, in the other building, and he come over with all the chips for the clock, and it was an RCA digital clock. And I did past videos, I mentioned it, and he gave me, and then I put my clock together, and I bought it was blue Vector. It was a Vector baby blue proto board. It was a perf board with a connector on the end, and I bought the matching connector. My dad made a bracket. I put the Numitrons on that, and then I had it was a Radio Shack transformer. There were 2 diodes. Well, anyway, I built a digital clock, and it was in the store, and it was behind up on a thing. And people say, "What is that?" I said, "Well, it's a digital clock I built, and it had 23 ICs, something like that." And they were like, "What does anybody want that for?" I said, "Well, you can go through it with a scope and see how the 60 cycle count from the thing gets divided out, and then the drivers that drive the Numitron." And a lot of people, they were like in their head, well, I'm more advanced than that. Did you ever build a digital clock? No. Did you build any digital clock? No. Well, how can you be more advanced than that clock? So it was more of an aggravation having that. And this one kid kept coming in, looking at it, and he finally goes, I'll give you $5. And I'm like, all right, here. And just the transformer alone was a radio. I think that was like $6.95. Out he went. And then I'm in this. I'm getting a certain amount of money from the government to go retrain on Trade Readjustment Act. And this guy's like, "Oh, Rets is a terrible school. Our school's so much better. Let me show you what one of our students built." And we go over to see my clock. I'm like, son of a bitch. That was a good story. Oh, so anyway, back to that's where I saw the proto board being used. And I'm looking at, I had seen it in magazines. I didn't know what the hell it was. And I looked at it real quick, and they had a couple of wires plugged into it. And you can make what you can buy the wires pre-cut and with ends on it. And all I saw was something like this, and I knew what it was. And then each one of these rows is all shorted together. Each row this way is the same connection. And you can put an IC in there. It's an amazing thing to own. And you've probably seen it. You didn't know what it was. But if you want to start out and pop together circuits, you can do it. Now, I had springs. I had these terminals that had springs on them. And you'd plug them in into a perk board. And then you would put your transistors in there and your resistors, and you press down on this spring, and the spring it was loaded, and it would hold the leads of the thing. And that P kit, I think there were P kits in Radio Shack later on, but I got mine from Calectro, which was Parts Unlimited sold Calectro stuff. I go way back to when that stuff all began, and I do a lot of salvage on parts, and I reuse them. Now this sensor, you saw this in a previous video. This is out of it's a four-legged hole detector. It detects a magnet, and you get them out of a cooling fan. You take a cooling fan apart. One's for the computer. They have a magnet in there, and you open one up. Go look at the video. And I had some guy telling me that's not what the part was. And then I built this. Anyway, I mocked the guy. You know, he shot from the hip with bullshit, and I shot right back at him. And you know, life's fun. But anyway, yeah, I just figured I would show you. You know, you can do a better job than I did. But in other words, a lot of times an old radio, the battery terminal is bad. It's a piece of shit, and it breaks on you. And then that's how I used to fix the radio, by repurposing. And to put a hood on this, you get a big piece of shrink tubing, and you cut two little holes in it. Put the shrink tubing over this, and heat it up and shrink it down. You can actually make a really nice. I should have done that, but I'm hoping that you go, oh man, I've been throwing batteries out. Yeah, and trust me, the top used to come off a lot easier than that. I think that's it. All right, that's it for now.